The first one is just, what made you decide to go into acting? Like, has it always been something you've wanted to do?
I always wanted to do it from being about 11, and I went to Stratford Children's Theatre, which was on in Stratford, obviously.
Yeah.
I went there, and there was a lady there that trained there called June Ritchie, which you won't know of, but she was quite famous in the day. So I was a bit in awe of that. And Ian McShane, who was quite famous, he went to Stratford Children as well. So that was when I first started. And then when I was at school, I did a lot of drama like Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar. I was always into drama.
Yeah.
And then when I left school, I just ended up travelling. I went to Canada and was a nanny in Canada, went to the Channel Islands, went to Bahrain, did a lot of travelling, and then came back and then didn't really know what to do. And I just sort of bobbed along, had 2 kids. And then I thought, you know what, I got to like 40 and I thought, I'm going to do something. So I went to drama school at 40. I was just a little bit under 40. And that's where I met Peter Kay and did a bit of writing with Peter. He's been really good to me as well. He's always given me parts in everything he's done. And that was it really. And the day I graduated, the day after, I got my first job on the BBC. Couldn't believe it. I had to go and get an agent quick.
Yeah.
So I was pretty lucky.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It really, it's always been in me. I've always been a bit of a drama queen anyway.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise to my family that I went into it.
Yeah.
But
what was your first role and how old were you? Like your first professional role?
My first professional role was with the BBC, and it was called 999. And it was Michael Burke was the presenter, and it was a real life incidents, 999 emergencies, but they had actors to play the family, a bit like they do now. They had actors to play the family.
Yeah.
That was my first role.
Wow.
And it was dreadful. It was awful. It was in Scunthorpe. It was freezing. We had to film at 4:00 in the morning. I was just like, oh my God, is this what I did 4 years of drama school for? But it was a start. It was a good start.
Exactly. What was your favourite role and why? If you could pick one.
Oh God. My favourite role. It's going to have to be The Cops, I think.
Yeah.
That was BBC Two, and I was in that for a full series.
Right.
And I played, I think she was called Mandy Barton or something, and she was a right rough arse from the estate.
Yeah.
She used to have like fights with the police, and her kids were always getting in trouble, and her husband was always kicking off, and but yeah, that was brilliant. That it was always fun to get on set, and you had a good laugh, and yeah, that was one of my favourites.
What would your least favourite be?
Oh God. I haven't got one. Do you know that?
That's fair enough.
I haven't got one. I've loved everything I've done because every part you do is so different anyway.
Yeah.
So different. And I can't say there's a least a one that I didn't like doing.
That's fair enough then, yeah. That's good that having a career you've enjoyed everything you've done. That is really good.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. What is it like working within Media City and the BBC?
I've just done years and years with the BBC.
Yeah.
They're all extremely professional, I've got to say, and there's just a vibe to working in the media, I can't explain it. There's a pecking order, obviously, because you're working with that. I mean, you're working with very famous people some of the time.
Yeah.
And you've got to take a step back and, just be quiet, because you're at the bottom of the pecking order because you're only doing cameos. But I've got to say, they all treat you with the utmost respect, I've got to say. And
good.
It's just a gorgeous vibe working in media, because you're making something, you're producing something for people to watch and enjoy, so you enjoy doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. Favourite memory throughout your career?
Favourite memory?
Or just something that's proper, like, sticks out in your head?
God, favourite memory? Let me think. Doing Tinned Up at Oldham Coliseum just before lockdown.
Okay.
I got a standing ovation for one of the scenes I did.
Oh, wow.
And that was quite unusual.
Yeah.
And it's exceptional to get that. And I wasn't the most famous person on the stage was Karen Henthorne, who was very famous. And I thought it was for her, but it wasn't. It was for me. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
And it was a scene where I was drunk and I was stoned. I'd been eating weed cake.
Yeah.
And apparently, that was the standing ovation I got.
Oh, wow.
And it's so lovely reading all the Twitter stuff, and the next day, I was just a bit like, oh my God. So yeah, that was really nice, really special.
Would you say that was your biggest achievement, or was there something else you could pick?
No, I think my biggest achievement was working with John Godper at Hull Truck Theatre Company.
Yeah.
He's second famous writer to Shakespeare, believe it or not.
All right.
Amazing. If you ever I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a very very renowned, infamous stage writer. He's wrote it for TV as well, I think, John. That was very challenging working with him. A bit scary as well, to be honest. That is the most nerves I've ever had in my whole life, working on a production, was that one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it wasn't very, very good.
What would you say the hardest part has been?
Getting over the fear. Especially on stage. When I first started working on stage, because to me, stage is where you learn your craft, because it's live. You have to know your lines. You have to know your moves. There's no cut and go, let's do it again, like there is with TV.
Yeah.
It's very intense. And the fear that I used to feel when I first started, I literally used to have a bucket at the side of the stage so I could be sick before I went on stage.
God.
I'd be that frightened, so frightened, I can't tell you.
How would you say you overcame that?
Pardon?
How would you say you overcame that, just constantly doing it?
Just by doing it, yeah. Just by, and I wouldn't even say by doing it, just having the confidence that I knew my lines.
Yeah.
No, why was I so afraid? And because once I'd gone out there and said my first line, it was done. I was, it was fine. But just walking on that stage, oh God, it used to be a nightmare. I love it now. I love it.
Yeah.
I love going on stage.
What is a show that you would like to be a part of in the future? Like, if you could be offered any role ever, what would your dream role be?
Schitt's Creek.
That's a good show.
Love to be in Schitt's Creek.
I've just started watching that.
You've already started?
Yeah.
I binge watched the whole lot for a week. I did move. And you know what the weird thing is? When I finish watching the whole series, all the series, I miss them.
Oh.
So I started following them on Twitter. How weird is that?
Oh God.
How weird is that? So yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
good show.
Oh, it's amazing.
And finally, just any advice you have for someone who's trying to start into acting, like just making it into the
Yeah, the same advice I was given by Barbara Knox, who plays Rita Fairclough.
Yeah.
Never ever refuse a part. Even if you think it's rubbish,
Yeah.
you never know who you're going to meet. I did a part many, many years ago, can't remember what it was on, something really small, and the director cast me in Holby City, Casualty, because he remembered me. Shameless, cast me in that. You never know who you're working with. And although the script might be rubbish, you'll still shine through if you tap it, and they'll remember you. So never refuse a part.
Brilliant.
Unless you like Tom Cruise that can afford to do that.
I mean, yeah.
You know, that famous, he doesn't need to be seen, which he doesn't.
But yeah.
But yeah.
That's everything, I think.
Thank you.